Every day is D&D Day with our new sponsor, Viridian Dice.
Every day?
Every single day! Viridian are sellers of Dungeons & Dragons dice and tabletop gaming accessories. And if you're thinking, Ian, I have enough dice, surely you do not. Red dice, blue dice, old dice, and new dice. Ones with little stars, Santa Claus, glitter.
Aren't all dice the same? I've played Monopoly, I've played Trouble, you know, you throw the dice now?
Absolutely not. It's so important when you're playing Dungeons & Dragons or any other tabletop role-playing game to have the right dice for the job. Sometimes you've got your lucky dice. You want your blue dice if you're working with water. You want your heavy metal dice for your important rolls. These days you can get a huge variety of cool dice. Viridian's got a massive catalog. These aren't just your grandpa's plain opaque dice either. There's swirled, mica, metal, hand-poured resin, gemstone, and more. They have fan-favorite brands like Chessex, HD, and Q Workshop.
Maybe I can get Frank back on the D&D wagon.
You could, since their prices are very reasonable and you can easily browse and sort by color, style, material, brand, or theme. They're a Syracuse, New York small business run by friend of the show, Mike Saltzman. He started out of his game room in 2019 making 3D printed condition rings and got into dice after he noticed how overpriced many big dice sellers were. Mike is obsessed with offering good deals, making his obsessive problem your solution.
I love dice solutions.
And he also offers condition rings, 3D printed rings that you can attach to your minifigs that describe the condition. So if you are blessed, or if you've got spirit weapons going, if you're invisible, you can keep all of that visually represented on your playfield very easily. They're awesome. Make Viridian your dice solution today by going to viridiandice.com and using our promo code CUPodcast to save 10% for the entire month of March. That's 10% off your order at viridiandice.com with our code CUPodcast.
They're also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as Viridian Dice, all one word. Tell them Pat and Ian sent you.
Viridian Dice, let's overthrow Big Die.
You know what's weird, Ian?
Huh.
Intellivision Amico has been very weird.
Oh yeah, it's been weird.
So after we talked about the last podcast, them shutting down the Start Engine, the fourth crowdfunding campaign, and going away, couple of weird things happened. We already had known that the new CEO, Phil Adam, planned a vacation around this time.
Yes.
Which is bizarre, but okay. Planned a vacation. But also two other things happened after we record. I'm not saying it's coincidence. One might have happened that day, but one the next day. The former CEO, Tommy Tallarico, and now CCO, president, whatever. He was responsible for this train wreck. He privated his Twitter account. First off, that happened, or protected as it's called. The other thing that happened was they, instead of having Phil Adams said we're going to have a production or a release update at the end of February. Didn't happen.
Right.
Instead, they put out a business update via email.
Well, they let it hang for a couple days too.
Yeah, it was like March 2nd or 3rd, whatever it was.
Right.
They put out a business update email. You want me to read that, Ian?
Yes, please.
I go back to my email, which is going off because people now are emailing me about putting honey on chicken. Mother. And so they put out a business update. Keep in mind, this update was not put on Start Engine. This update was not put on for the Republic investors. I checked. There was no update about it. The last update was January 10th from Tommy on Republic. And if I checked Fig, there'd probably be no update there as well. And who the hell knows about Fundable with that? So the point is that a lot of people don't know what's happening, and Intellivision has basically gone dark. They've gone dark after this.
Yes,
that's the bad news. But here's the update from Phil Adams, CEO. I wanted to take a moment to provide an update and also extend my apologies. It's from Wednesday the 2nd. As you know, it was my goal to communicate with you by the end of February. However, over the last few weeks, we started discussions with potential investors/acquirers outside of the Start Engine universe. The Start Engine universe. As we continue to work with them on a deal structure and terms, it's like a cinematic universe. It's ridiculous.
I'm thinking of the crowdfunding, a crowdfunding universe.
Yes. Yeah. As we continue to work with them on a deal structure and terms, it has been agreed that we maintain a quiet period while negotiating. The magnitude of this type of deal will invariably have an influence on our path forward, but we are excited about the potential of a new group's involvement. with Intellivision, and we'll update you as soon as we are able. Thank you for your continued support and patience. Phil Adam.
So quiet period is an actual term.
It is.
It's an actual term.
Oh, is it a business term?
Looking it up here on Wikipedia, in United States securities law, a quiet period is a period of time in which companies refrain from communicating with investors to avoid unfairly disclosing material, non-public information to certain investors when the company has not yet publicly communicated this information. When a company is raising capital from the public, this historically has meant quiet period of time extended from the time a company files a registration statement with the SEC until SEC staff declared the registration statement effective. During that period, the federal securities laws limited what information a company and related parties can release to the public. So basically, it means we have to be careful not to say shit that we can't say.
But that has to do with SEC statements.
Right.
This is not that.
No. Well, okay, right. So basically, he's throwing around a term.
Yes.
That does not make sense in this situation.
It's context.
Right. There is no reason for them to have to go into a quiet period.
That's what I thought. It sounds like, well, this is a business term for when we're doing something official.
They just feel like it sounds close enough.
A little sneaky, Phil.
Yeah.
A little sneaky with that.
A little sneaky.
Especially since you have people that are you have their pre-order money for years. You have customers.
A little sneaky, Phil.
And then you have a ton of investors that, again, aren't officially investing in Intellivision proper, which we'll get into. But there are some people, if you look at the SEC document, there are some people there that have put money in as well, but not as much as, obviously, the board getting back loans to themselves. So what is going on here? Are they buying time between potential bankruptcy or buying time for an actual manufacturing and release date? Are they actually trying to engage with talks with investors to try to save this?
Again, I feel like at this point, a lot of the words they're using aren't even meant to instill hope in customers or the people who are hanging on. I think it's to make them feel more legitimate about themselves as they fall apart.
So you think it's bullshit?
I think
there's no one's trying to acquire them,
or someone is for like. We're talking very, very low amounts of money,
or a cursory sort of, yeah, I'm interested. Let's talk about it. What do you have?
Because this is the thing, and this is what surprises me, even among some of the people who have seemed to be pretty savvy about what's been going on. They realize that the Amico, is not in. But there's a lot of people who still who have been, I guess, anti-Amico, or at least what is going on with this, who still think that there is Tommy was effective enough, because there are still people out there who think there's something, there's enough in Intellivision somewhere to be purchased. What are you getting? You are getting an idea around, you're getting the idea of an Android system with nothing nailed in place even far enough to have started
no infrastructure.
Promoting units. Obviously, you screwed up your first manufacturing run with Arc. And then you have the games. There are people who I think it's just to keep things in discussion. But there are people who think that these games are going to get released on the Switch. I mean, maybe, but no one's going to buy them, because this always goes back to what I said. At the end of it, if everything was perfect and the Amico came out, we would still not be talking about it in a year's time, because there's nothing there.
They are
bottom barrel video games on a system that is outdated, on outdated hardware.
Reportedly made from German college students were making some of these games.
I could put $10 into someone's Steam wallet, and you could go on Steam and end up with 10 games that would be better than this.
Sure.
And that's what I think is so frustrating to me, is the amount of people who are still thinking that if I'm saying this right, a release is the success, getting the system out of the success. There's nothing there. That's the starting line.
We always said that's the start of the ecosystem.
If this thing actually came out, it would fall over on its fucking face, because there's nothing there.
It's on a toaster oven. A toaster, you buy a toaster, that's all the toaster does ever. That's it. You don't have to worry about it. You just got to buy bread for it. This, you need to support with new games. You need to support the back end. You need to support the cloud. You need to support a customer service. You need to support if something's wrong with the hardware. God forbid there was an issue like how Switch had to deal with drifting Joy-Cons. This is a smaller company.
Look at systems that have been laughed off the face of the planet. The Jaguar, the 3DO, the fucking Virtual Boy.
And those were huge companies.
All catastrophic failures, and they all came out and had games.
Yes.
Playable games. I mean,
Tell Hyperscan, which is similar to how this console is in terms of like what you're getting out of it, basically.
The Virtual Boy sucked to play, but man, there was actually some good games on the Virtual Boy.
And it was Nintendo had all the money in the world to push it and promote it, and it still didn't help.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. At some point, people have to stop pretending like this was ever going to work, that this was ever going to be a video game system. Even the people who realize that it was going to be a game system, but not a viable game system with stuff that's worth playing on it. There has to be value to this stuff for people to want to buy it. There's no value to an Astro Smash that took fucking college kids a week to make.
Well, maybe that one wasn't college kids, but some of these, like the fucking pool game, was a tech demo.
Sure. 10 levels of skiing is not going to set the world on fire.
The Snafu game that you saw parts of, that's a tech demo. Like, these are all tech demos. Speaking of tech demos, Ian, and Astro Smash, you can play Hater Smash. Now, it's downloadable for free. I found about this on the Intellivision _Amico Reddit. It was made in one day by Gator Ooze, who also was the intrepid person who went through a lot of remember the SEC filing that came out around the Start Engine, and went through a lot of the details.
What a lovely document that was.
It was great. What a miscalculation that campaign was.
Boy, was that a gamble that did not go
any investor potential investor can look at that document and be like, wow, this company is in trouble, has a ton of debt, and owes a lot of money. Why the hell would I want to acquire this piece of shit? Anyway, this is what good old Gatoroo said. I felt sorry for Amico fans in this worrying waiting period, so I made them a game where they can merrily blast away at all the Amico haters and have some Astro smashing fun. Download it here and then unzip it to your hard drive and just double-click hatersmash.exe to play. This was made in one day, so don't judge me too harshly. The sound of most of the graphics were assets I already had. High scores are saved. Mine was 996 after a couple of plays. Hit escape to quit during play. The point is this. In terms of the engine functionality, this is exactly the same as the Amico Astro Smash.
Sure.
It's exactly the same. Like, we're talking about, a game that any person can make in Unity in one day, at least have the engine done. You're shooting up at these objects come towards the ground and they split up when you shoot them. That's the game. They even put in the little hyper slide thing. The little
the dash button?
The little dash is put in.
Is it activated by swiping the touchscreen?
No, it's just a mouse push.
That extremely easy mechanic that everyone was just going to pick up naturally.
Yes. So check out Hater Smash for free there when you want. The point is that these were always this company was always banking on cheap games and tricking you to thinking you needed a $250 now to $350 device to play these cheap ass games. They're trying to insult your intelligence and be like, well, these games will be free on your phone or like $1 or $2 on Steam, but we want you to spend $300 to get the system and then spend $10 to $20 on top of that.
And this is what I'm trying to get at to some people that who are still holding on to a little bit of hope that there's something there. No one is champing at the bit.
Chomping?
No, it's champing.
Champing at the bit. Oh,
champing.
New term, champing.
Yes, it's champing at the bit. No one's champing at the bit to acquire. Again, you're taking on their word that 20 of these are finished. No one would want these games if they were all done. No, I mean, what was 10 levels of skiing gonna get you on the Switch at $299? Maybe 1,000 downloads. These games
1,000.
As we've seen, these games are still lots of these are still half finished, not optimized,
or they're short games anyway.
Placeholder graphics. That's what I'm saying. It's not worth it. There's no money.
If you charge more than $1 for that skiing game, what was it? 10 levels.
10 levels of skiing is what I have officially changed the name.
If you charge more than $1 for that,
it's like Fred Couples' 36 holes of awesome golf or whatever it was on the Sega Genesis.
That sounds better. 36 holes, a lot more intense levels.
But 10 levels of skiing. Tommy Tallarico's 10 levels of skiing.
But the point is that if you charge more than $1 for these games,
I said probably John Alvarado's 10 levels of skiing.
More than $1, you'd struggle to get 2 out of 5 star rating on Steam or on, like, no one's gonna.
Hans Ippich's 10 levels of skiing. That's who it is.
Hans Ippich's 10 levels of government funding.
10 levels of government funding
for my shitty ass games. Make that game. It could be like lemonade stands.
I'm seeing Hans like skating down a fucking mountain of paperwork, just like reefs of paper.
By the way, there were some reports that Han Ippich was involved. Hans was involved with
in an underground fight club.
Hans, I can't confirm nor deny this, was involved potentially on the board or people that decided where the grant money went years back.
Yeah, I saw something along those lines.
So it's like, this gets griftier and griftier, this whole venture.
Let's have another caffeine.
For sure, Ian. You just enjoy your tea with the little jar condom.
It's a fucking cozy, man. It keeps it warm.
But it's so big.
It is so big.
All right, so we got Hater Smash, but actually, okay, let's be serious. When you're buying Intellivision, what are you getting? You are getting the trademark, the little running man, which is not even you're
getting the little guy.
You're getting the little guy.
Do you think you're gonna get the sign? Do you get the sign?
You get that sign that gave away. Yeah, the sign in the office.
Get the sign.
What is that? Where's that sign? Is that sign in the Utah offices? You get the iconic running man.
Aren't these rental offices too? Do they like?
I don't know.
Do they like truck out the sign and hang it up every working day?
I don't know. But the point. Okay, so the running man logo is you can't even call it a logo because that's just how their graphics were designed, and that guy showed up in like all their games, baseball, soccer, right? Like that's
more or less that was the guy I think in Cloudy Mountain.
So that's not really a logo, but you get that. You get the Intellivision first-party games if you're buying Intellivision entertainment. You get the first-party games, right? So you could, in theory, make money off of that, like there was the Evercade did a little physical media pack of games. I mean, at this point, though, not a lot of people want those old games. There's a lot of ways to play them on the version of the flashback that came out 10, 12, 14, 15 years ago. All the little crappy plug and plays that Tommy lied about and said that, I'll never forgive you on this, Tommy. And I asked for evidence. You claimed that more Intellivision plug and plays were sold than NES classics, which would be about 3 million. You had the fucking balls to try to fucking lie about that bullshit. In what universe did they sell 3 million Intellivision plug-and plays when they didn't sell fucking barely 3 million Intellivisions when the console came out? Are you fucking crazy? Anyway, sorry about that. I'll never forgive him for that lie. That's when you knew Tom was full of shit when he was lying about that stuff years back, by the way, when he was bold-faced lying about that stuff. But you get the Intellivision first properties, and then you get like the potential patents on their over-engineered controller if you buy Intellivision, like if those patents go through. You get a controller that is useless for playing a lot of modern games anyway. That's what you get. So I don't think anyone's going to rescue the Amico. Even if they acquire Intellivision Entertainment, you're not going to see them release the Amico. There's just too much money it's going to take to do it.
Yeah, the Amico's not getting released. I don't think enough of the games are in a shippable, buyable state that would make them money to even think about forming a publication imprint.
You can do that, but you're still not going to recoup your costs.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. There's not enough there.
Bankruptcy is the only route.
So I don't. Yeah,
bankruptcy protects you from your debtors. That's basically what it does. So you go to bankruptcy, then everyone that's that the company owes money to, in this case, members of the board and Tommy himself, they can pick apart the carcass of what the property, what the company has, the intellectual properties, the logos, the trademarks. That's what this is leading towards, in my opinion. That's what this is heading towards. And again, if you put money in through Republic or Fig or Star Engine, you're not investing, at least for Fig and Republic, you were investing in Fig and Republic.
Right.
Technically. So even if they sold the company, you get absolutely nothing. If you put in $10,000 for a Ferrari ride, you get absolutely nothing if the company is sold off. If the company was sold for $1 billion to someone, you get zero. You're entitled to no money through those investments.
I remember one of the most pathetic things was when that dude made fun of me for getting the type of car that Tommy drove wrong and called me poor.
He called you poor?
It was something along those lines. Like he was like insulting me.
Shirtless Shill called you poor?
It was along those lines for not knowing the difference between, I think, like a Lamborghini and a Ferrari or something like that. Yeah. It was a touchstone moment for him. I think.
And this is the type of person that Tommy thinks he could have partnered with in order to try to take us down a peg, because that was a lot of the strategy.
Petty fucking bitches who will say anything.
I know, and then you just look worse and worse, and then they all just all these rats just turn on each other. They all just, because they're just rats and snakes, and they just turn on each other.
You got to make sure that you know all of your like icons of like being rich. If you don't, you're a bad person and you're poor.
Yeah. All right. That's something else to add to the list. Okay. That's something else to add to the list when we'll do the victory laps eventually. That's fair.
Anyway.